And we're back with the Gentleman's Guide to Gaming, and specifically the Gentleman Gamer's Call of Cthulhu 7th Edition actual play. Our last session was a few weeks back at one of the manors in the Hamptons, where a couple of members of a group known as the Golden Generation were due to be married. Our investigators were guests at the wedding, or interlopers, who were investigating this for various reasons. And we will recap with each of them why those reasons might have been. However, something terrible had occurred near the end of our first session. One of our characters picked up a mystical book, it would appear, that knocked him for six, as they say. He fell down, completely addled, probably forgot the last 15 minutes of his life and the people he'd interacted with. Another one of our characters discovered a body, the bride-to-be, beside a lake outside the manor. But before I go more deeply into it, I think it's worth the players once again introducing who their characters are and what they're doing here. So, Mark, who are you playing and what are they doing here?
I'm playing Captain Trent. He's a veteran from the Great War who suffered great psychological damage and was interned in an institution. As a result of that, he's stable for now, but his mind is not the most resistant to the perils that are already starting to happen to him specifically. He's at this party hired by the father of the bride, part of as a favor, part because he wanted to see him again, they're friends, and part because he wanted to look into some things. And after the event, I believe my character is going to be very distressed to hear the last news. He will feel like he failed on his job. And yes, at this point, he's on a library. He has discovered a book. And I think he himself will recognize he will need some help to deal with what just happened. Hopefully, one of the characters might help him, since his mind is a bit, fragile.
Now, to be clear, Captain Trent, just to get into the stats for a little while, what is his sanity rating at this point in the game?
Just a moment. I think it was 24.
24, an excellently low sanity rating to start. This wasn't your starting rating. Of course, it reduced after you read a book that wasn't meant to be read by mortal eyes. Let's see whether we can drive it down a little more before the time this session is out. Now, David, same question goes for you. Who are you playing, and what is this character doing at the wedding?
I am playing Jack North, a photographer that has been invited by the bride because she was a big fan of some of my more morbid pieces during World War I. I'm here to hope I can rub elbows with the rich and famous. And finding this body, my mind is spinning about what I'm going to do next. But it probably involves photography.
Well, that is particularly morbid. And I don't think we got you to make a sanity roll for discovering the body, did we? So I will be doing that at the very start of the game. In fact, I'd like you to do that now while we're discussing with our third player, I should say, his character and what he is doing here. Now, to be clear, anyone that watched the first session, Our third player, Vasilis, wasn't here for that. We had a player, Nicholas, who is not here for the second session. They're not playing the same character. If you watch the character creation video, you'll know they're two individual characters. So we need to do a bit of retroactive continuity, a bit of a retcon, in fact, and work out exactly how our professor got to this wedding, why he's there, and I guess whether he's aware of his fellow investigators' presence. I'm going to turn this over to you, Vasilis, to make up of your own accord, providing you don't break the plot of the game.
Okay, so in terms of introduction, I'm playing Dr. Han van den Berg, who is a doctor of psychology and a practicing psychiatrist, who, among other, has treated Captain Trent. He's a fairly wealthy member of the society, and he had an invitation due to an acquaintance of the part of the fathers of the bride. We happen to know each other through my activity with helping soldiers who came back from the Great War. So the colonel knows me, and he's very much aware of how I'm assisting the troops. And he wanted me to be there as a friendly gesture. My character tends to be a little bit awkward socially and very much not present when he's in a crowd. He's always observing but never interacting. But nevertheless, he decided that he should be there, being that this is part of his professional cycle and it is his responsibility to participate.
Perfect. Now, your character isn't going to be immediately aware of the events that have just occurred. We'll be picking up straight from where we left off. So that means I'm going to go straight to David and ask, did you succeed or fail on your sanity roll?
I failed my sanity roll. I got a 25.
Okay, as someone who has a history of making footage, taking photographs of dead bodies on the front, it's not going to jar your world too much to have found a fresh corpse. However, this is someone you knew, albeit briefly. So I'm going to ask you to just do a simple 1d4 sanity loss, please. Okay, the sound didn't come through, but by lip reading, I think it was 4. Yep, okay. Well, in that case, it did particularly take you aback, because I think you initially thought that the invitation out to the woods was for activity that didn't involve finding a dead body. So yes, you have been definitely cooled to the core, sir. And going back to the house now and the library, where Captain Trent is picking himself up after finding this mysterious volume. Mark, what is Trent's immediate action going to be?
Well, first, can you hear me? Because I think my image just went out.
Your image did go out, but we can hear you, so keep going.
Okay, we'll try to solve that later. Well, I wake up, look around. First thing I want is, what am I doing here? Because I don't remember how I got here. I do seem to remember something about a door in front of me, but now I see bookcases. And I'm starting to believe I'm having a relapse. I don't immediately associate it to the book. I think maybe it's a relapse from my own psychological problems. And well, I try to get out of there and maybe talk to someone. So I just get up. I just slowly open the door of the library, see if anyone is inside, if anyone heard something. I can see that no one is with me, but
Well, by a skillful bit of Deus Ex Machina, you exit the library, stumbling out, clinging onto the doorframe. And who is walking by on this floor? This floor, which I might remind you, you're not supposed to be on, but your good friend, or from the past, Dr. Vanderberg, who is currently walking the halls with Colonel Harmon. And so they both see you stumble out, and immediately Colonel Harmon, at the very least, runs to your side to keep you stable. Does Vanderberg join him?
I'm sorry, who? I have to interact now?
No, I was asking Vasilis whether Vanderberg joins, trying to stabilize Captain Trent.
Of course I do. I am amazed that I stumbled onto Captain Trent, and I'm immediately worried about his condition, and I'm eager to help.
Oh boy! Take a seat. Take a seat. And Harmon gestures you to, lowers you gently to the floor. What on earth happened to you? Have you drank a little too much already?
No, Doctor. Actually,
Yes,
funny
Captain.
thing, I haven't drank at all. But I think I might having problems. I just woke up in the library and I have no idea how I got there.
This is not important right now. Just let me know how you're feeling. Do you know why you're here?
Oh well, yes, I'm here. I'm here to run security. I don't remember the last few minutes. I remember everything from the night before this. Right now, I feel a bit shaken. I don't know what happened in there, but it was strong. And maybe the visions are coming back. I saw a door, and then that door disappeared, and there were just books. So I don't know. Maybe the hallucinations are coming back.
I don't think so, Captain. You had never mentioned the door before. But what is the last thing you remember?
The last thing I remember from tonight, before this, I remember I took this undercover cop that was on disguise away. I just put him in this car, and then I don't remember much at all after that.
Has anybody else seen the cop?
Seen what?
Has anybody else interacted with the cop? Has anybody else? Do you know him? Is he an acquaintance of yours?
No, they don't know he had anything to do with me. I just treated him like any, I don't know, unwelcome guest, and showed him to his car and ordered him to get away.
It's probably nothing. It's probably nothing. I think you just you probably had too much to drink, or you said you didn't drink, but it might be too late. I don't know. You might be tired. These things can happen.
Drinking. I didn't.
What?
I hired you for security, not to have a jolly old time at my daughter's wedding.
That's the funny thing. I haven't touched a glass, so I don't know what happened.
Are you tired from the trip? Is it? You might be feeling a little bit tired. Can I get you a glass of water?
I'm not sure it's tired. I don't know what it is. It's not like something I experienced before. This is something different. I cannot say. This has never happened to me.
It's probably a blackout. I'm sure that you were responsible enough not to drink and that you were probably exhausted. It happens.
Harmon stands up from his squatting position and he points down at Captain Trent and says, "Listen, buddy, I've got every sympathy, as you know. We both served. I know what it's like. But I can't have you getting weak at the knees on me. I'm going to need to go and talk to the other guests. The doc here is going to straighten you out. None of this funny business. You know you're on point. Got that?"
Yes, sir.
It's okay, Colonel. I will help. I will help the captain. I will assure that anything is taken care of.
Harmon heads off downstairs.
Captain, let me get you a glass of water. Please stay here, try to relax, take a seat, and I'll be right back. I just tried to get one of the waiters to give me a glass of water.
Well, there's no one else walking around on this floor. The captain had gone a little off the beaten track in order to find the library. So none of the other guests are walking around this part of the mansion. You were, just because you were speaking to Harmon about some personal misgivings he had about the bridegroom. But now that he's gone, as far as you're aware, the two of you are the only ones here. You can certainly head back downstairs and get him a drink.
If this will not take more than 5 minutes, I'll try to do it. Otherwise, I'll stay with the captain.
Yeah, you can get downstairs and back up within 5 minutes.
Great. I'll do that in order to help him with the stress. I'll try to offer him the drink. Here you go, Captain.
What is this?
Just water.
Oh, okay. I drink the water, and I'm just still confused. And well, I've talked to him, Doctor. I'm angry at this. I'm angry. What just happened? I cannot explain it. This never happened to me before. It's not the same as before. What's going on?
Captain, what is important to remember is that anger is natural when we feel that we might have lost control. The important thing is that you are safe and nothing went wrong. It might not be easy to get answers right away, but we can work through this. It's probably something very normal, nothing to be afraid of.
Okay, if you say so. However, why did I saw this door? Could it be something I saw? Maybe, I don't know. Something my subconscious perceives or something. I don't know. You're better at this than me, but that door is like engraved on me now. Why?
Well, before we ask why, let's just try to remember a little bit what happened. What is it that you saw?
In the 5 minutes that the doctor went away and came back with the water, flashes of memory are coming back. The last 15 minutes, 20 minutes now, weren't terribly eventful. Obviously, there was the point at which one of the guests was escorted away, and the point at which you sneaked your way upstairs. But you're starting to piece together the step-by-step of how you ended up in the library. And do you remember why you picked that book out?
I was looking for information about the people who own this house. Try to know more about them, maybe about family history.
Hmm.
And I picked up this book. It had a like, I couldn't read it, but somehow it's like I could understand what it was saying. And I saw this symbol, this weird symbol. It was yellow with some, like, several sixes. I can see it clearly now even. And I saw a door right behind that bookcase. I saw it like it was right there.
Okay, let's go to the door. Where is the door?
I take him into the library. I say, there is behind that bookcase. I saw the door. But there's just books there now.
Well, this is very normal. You know, imagination is a wild thing. Why exactly would you be looking up family history? Was just a trivia information you were after?
I was trying to find out more about the people who own this house because, well, there seem to be, I don't know, shady businesses. I'm just trying to do a favor for my friend. He's not very convinced about who is his daughter is marrying to, and all these things like, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but secret society stuff. But I'm not sure. I'm just crazy. Well,
I,
that's what
I'm
I'm saying.
sure I'm sure you were looking after your friend and your friend's daughter, and this is good. Uh, Now about the type of people this family is, it's not really our position to investigate, I believe. And whatever it is that you saw, it was probably the doctor inside me is starting to think that maybe one of the books had some substance that by opening the book you inhaled. This
The
sounds to me like it
question
was a way.
is still on the floor. It's no longer open, but it's quite clear what the captain was looking at before he fell over and stumbled out of the room.
Okay.
There, doctor, right there. There's the book. Do you think they might have some sort of substance that may have caused this? Some hallucination thing?
Why not? Why not? You never know. There's so many clever ways to poison people, and there's people. Some things get forgotten in an old bookshelf. Listen, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to collect this book, and I'm gonna try to find out whether it contained anything that was
Be
dangerous.
careful, doctor. If that book is poison, I don't want anything to happen to you.
I'll make sure that I will take my precautionary measures, and I will help you verify that this is probably something that was natural to happen. Because you never had anything like that before. I remember all our sessions. Not worry. Not worry.
Yes, not like it. And please do be careful, doctor.
I will be
And
careful.
if this is poisoning, I don't know. Maybe it makes sense. I don't know. Thank you. Thank you for your help.
We should remove it. We should remove it. I open my leather bag, and I'll just, without opening the book, put it inside the bag.
Very good. So I'm going to cut back to the forest now, the gardens beyond the mansion, where North is stood over a freshly deceased Delia Harmon. It's quite easy to see the manner by which she died. Her head has been stoved in by a large rock that lies beside it, and it has her blood on it. Of course, it is possible that she slipped and fell and bashed her head, but even with a cursory glance, it doesn't seem right. The hunch of this reporter, this journalist, this photographer is foul play.
So, since I've been a little traumatized by this, I'm going to put aside my selfishness for a bit, and I will start calling for help, but I am going to take some photos. But instead of going for something flashy that I might be able to sell, I'm going to try to go for like crime scene photos that I can provide to the police.
Okay, I'm not going to make you roll for the photography, but as you're calling out for help, a waiter eventually shows up. And you've not seen this young man before, but it's not surprising. There's a lot of staff around the house. And he says, I heard someone calling for, oh my gosh. And he sees the exact same thing you did. Is that, oh my, someone's going to have to tell. Have you called the police? Oh my! So someone's going to have to tell Elgin Burrows. Oh, someone's going to have to tell her father. Oh, do you want me to? Do you want me to go back to the house and tell everyone? Tell one person?
Yes. Please go back and find. And I describe, since I have no reason to believe he's met the head of security. I describe him. Please go find him and bring him here as soon as you can. Don't cause a panic. Don't shout to the room what happened. Just bring.
Very, very good. Yes, I'll see if I can find this this Captain Trent, this head of security, and I'll. Oh, and the waiter stumbles off into the woods, leaving you once again alone in the quiet with the dead body. By all means, if you have a skill associated with medicine, first aid, or forensics, you can roll it. See whether you can roll under it. I think everyone has a very basic level of first aid, even if they aren't, even if they don't have points in it. No, okay. You fail on your roll, and you can't really glean how soon when she died. I mean, you only saw her about 30 minutes to an hour ago, so it's give or take that long. But whether she was in the woods and as soon as she arrived, someone hit her, or whether she was waiting for you and someone crept up on her and hit her, you've got no way of telling. You're even starting to doubt your initial estimation that this is an act of violence. You're not you're a photographer, but you aren't a study of crime scenes. How a stone should look after someone's head has hit it, or head should look after a stone has hit it. You're starting to weigh up. Were you panicking over nothing? And that reassurance, that failure, rewards you with a point of sanity, because you are starting to tell yourself, this is probably just a horrible accident. And as if by coincidence, the waiter does reach the library. He's obviously been asking around, has anyone seen Captain Trent? Has anyone seen the head of security? And he arrives upstairs. Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness I found you. He's out of breath. Oh, and
what is it, man? Out with it.
I'm sorry. I was told to speak to you and you alone. He's looking over at the doctor.
He's all right. You can talk to me. I know him.
It's Delia Harmon. She's either very badly injured or maybe dead. She's out in the woods by the lake. I can show you where. The wedding, the photographer, Jack North. He sent me in here to fetch you.
All right. Just take me there, Doctor. You better come with us. You might be of help. We might need your medical knowledge.
Captain, is it maybe better to inform the colonel while I try to tend to his daughter?
Not just now. Come with me. He will be the first to know after we see what's going on. But I don't want him panicking.
Mr. North said not to cause a panic. Not that he has on any authority, mind you, but he said not to cause a panic. So, yes, I think it's right. We should do what he says. I'll take you to the scene. And so the way to lead you through the front door, around the side of the mansion, into the woods. You may have trod this way before if you've been walking around the grounds, around to the opposite side of the lake, where North, as you're approaching, you see the flash of a camera. Seems to already be taking photos of the body, which strikes you as highly unusual.
Indeed. I'm sorry. You wanted to say something?
I'm asking, is this Mr. Jack? Are you the photographer? Is this Mr. Jack? Are you the photographer?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was shocked walking up on her. It looks like, I'm not a doctor, but it looks like she slipped on the wet rocks here and hit her head real bad. I part-time as a crime scene photographer, so instincts just kicking.
I interrupt. Make way, make way.
I interrupt.
Good God.
Make way.
What happened here? What were you doing taking pictures?
What are you doing taking pictures?
I'm going to hand them over to the police. I'm going to hand them over to you. Just, like I said,
Captain,
I'm a little...
Okay. We might need the evidence, but...
But then let me first see if the person is alive. And I'll try to feel for a pulse on her neck.
There is no pulse, but the body isn't stone cold. She has only died within the last 10, 20 minutes. It takes a little while for a body to cool down entirely. Certainly, she's only freshly dead.
How is she, doctor? Is she alive? Does she have a pulse?
Listen, I think there is nothing we can do. I'm not feeling a pulse right now. I think it's important that we do not disturb this crime scene anymore, and that we should refer to the police. This is very tragic.
I must contact the other security. No one can leave the premises. I will call the police immediately.
If you allow me to talk to her father.
I don't know, maybe I should do it myself.
Fair enough.
This is my responsibility.
I understand.
But if you could be with me, I would appreciate it. As a doctor, as a friend.
Of
course. The waiter points, gestures, because he still stood there watching all of this going down. What do we do? What do we do with the body? Do we just leave her here?
No one must touch the body. Have two men from the security be on watch here at all times, and we must alert the remaining staff from security. No one can leave the premises. This is important, and we must call the police immediately. Do you understand what I just said?
Yeah. Yes. Of course. So do you want to handle that call, or shall I? I'm sorry. I was staring at the body. I couldn't help but stare.
Do you have a telephone? Where is it?
There is a telephone in the house in the main hall. I can make the call.
Okay. You make the call. I guess I have to talk with the colonel.
The waiter runs back. I'm going to say, for the sake of ease, you are able to link up with a couple of members of the security team. You give them the signal, you tell them to come over, and you express pretty swiftly that they aren't allowed to leave this spot or allow anyone to come into contact with the body, and that you are going to be delivering the message. You're able to do that due to your position. You don't need to make any rolls for it, which allows the three of you to re-enter the house. Are all three of you going to be essentially cornering Colonel Harmon for this? Or does... I know that the doctor intends to accompany the captain. What does Jack North intend to do?
Jack, still just a little shaken. He wants to stay towards something familiar. So he's going to follow the captain around, but it's really not his place to inform this guy that his daughter's died. So when they go to have that conversation, I'm going to hang back 5 to 10 feet.
And also, I probably have a lot of questions for him still, so I want to keep him around.
He is the one who found the body, after all.
Mm-hmm. So we found...
You find Colonel Harmon. He is currently addressing some of the other guests who you don't recognize in a corner of the lounge. They are both smoking cigars. Colonel Harmon, for the first time tonight, looks relaxed and like he's enjoying himself because, of course, that would be the appropriate timing.
Well, I approach the colonel.
Captain,
Old friend.
Feeling better?
We need to talk in private. I'm afraid I have some bad news. Perhaps you may want to sit. Doctor, can you get a chair?
Yes, of course. Colonel, I think you should sit down.
I've always been taught that bad news is best received standing up. What is the matter?
I understand completely, sir. I'm afraid your daughter has passed away. And I'm afraid some foul play might be involved. Sorry, I'm so blunt, but it's the only way.
He stares at you. He doesn't say anything. He's clenching his teeth. The cigar between his fingers just drops to his side. I see. Where?
She's at the gardens. If you like to, we can take you to her. But, Doctor, I don't know if this is the best idea.
Yes, of course. I try to extend an arm to the shoulder of the colonel in ways of saying condolences.
As you touch the colonel, he lashes out, casts your arm aside, and he lunges at the captain, grabbing him by his lapels. You were supposed to protect her, you useless son of a bitch. At which point, whack across the face.
Well, I could attempt to avoid it, but I take it. Like the Maltese Falcon, you'll take it and you'll like it. And I take it because, I know it's my responsibility. And I say, I know this is the worst possible way I could have failed you.
You're damn right it is. You're going to take me to her right now. You are going to take me to her right now.
Of course, sir.
And he
also
points
let me in.
straight at Jack North and says, and I see you there with your camera, buddy. If you've taken any photos of my daughter, I'm going to destroy every last piece of your equipment and your career.
I'll make sure they are only used for evidence. If any photos were taken, they will never make it to the press. And I looked at our friend, the photographer, and in the eyes. Do you understand what I say? Actually, I would like the negatives right now.
Of course. In fact, I brought a backup camera that I can get after this. Please take it, and I'll take off my current camera and just hand it to the captain.
Okay, now that that's out of the way, I also like to reassure you. I am aware in the way that I failed you, but I like to reassure you that I will make it my purpose in life to find out who did this.
Oh, don't even try to win points with me right now.
I'm not trying to win points. I know this is beyond any... There's a point of no return after this. I cannot expect you to forgive me ever, but I still like to tell that to you.
I don't want to hear another word out of your lips until after I've seen my daughter.
Of course.
Do you take him directly there?
Yes.
You head there. The two security team look very troubled, but upon seeing you approach, are somewhat relieved to have more living company. One of them says, "Are the police on the way?"
The police have been called. Actually, I will handle that matter myself very shortly, but first, have the father of the bride here.
The colonel and judge, as he is now, upon seeing the broken form of his daughter laying there on the rocks, he doesn't crumple like you perhaps imagine he might, folding like some concertina as he weeps over his daughter. He is just standing straight, looking down, almost not recognizing her. His facial expressions go through everything from confusion to anger to pain and sorrow, everything that you'd expect, I guess, when finding the corpse of a loved one. But he doesn't weep. He doesn't bend.
I speak to the coroner, and I'm trying to express my sincere sympathy, and this is very tragic, Colonel. I know you are a very stoic man, but this is heartbreaking.
He removes his coat, his jacket. He gives the doctor a nod, perhaps in appreciation for his words. And in defiance of the idea of not disturbing the crime scene, he drops his jacket over the body of his daughter to at least give her a little dignity. He sniffs. This is going to be one of those goddamn golden generation bastards back at the house. She's going to have said something to them about not wanting to join that little club. And so they took her out. I know it. He points at the doctor, he points at the captain and at North. I know it.
Why are you suspecting them, Colonel?
Because they're all a bunch of sick deviants who spend too much of their time on dope, sleeping around, whores, committing acts of petty violence against each other and innocent people. I knew I shouldn't have allowed this. I knew I shouldn't have allowed this wedding, but she was so goddamn willful. If I'd said no, she would have done it anyway. But I shouldn't. I should have done something. I should have locked her in a room till she grew a clue. Oh, Delia.
It seems highly unlikely that a lady would have ventured into the woods on her own. Whoever did this has fled the scene. I would be very hasty in getting the police here. We need to act fast.
Which is why I should get into the investigation right away. Doctor, can you take the colonel somewhere where he can be with himself, maybe? I should attend to this immediately. Every minute we waste is of great importance.
Only if the colonel wishes to. I think it's not my position.
If I'm around those other guests, I'm going to do something that I think I'll regret. I need to be somewhere alone with a bottle of brandy.
I will find in my jacket a little piece of alcohol, whiskey. I say, extend it to the colonel and say, this is, please.
That will have to do. I'll go back up to that library we were outside. No one was up there. When the police come, tell them that's where I am.
Of course.
Well, Trent, what he does immediately is make sure that the police has been called. So he goes back to where the telephone is to see if the waiter is there, if anyone is there who he can talk to about this.
You can't see the waiter around anymore. I mean, there's a lot of waiting staff here. As far as everyone here is concerned, the party's still going on, except for the young, lithe, rather winnowy form of Elgin Burrows, who, upon seeing you approach, spits in your face. You let my fiancé die? You?
Right now is not the best moment to have this conversation.
Who invited you to this place? Who appointed you? I had my own security. If they were allowed to be in charge, this would have never happened.
The father of the bride hired me.
Old drunk.
Again, this is not the time to have this conversation. I tried to...
Not the time. My fiancé is dead, you wretched little limey.
That's right. A murder has been committed and I'm going to get to the end of it. And until I find out who did it, everyone is a suspect. Even you. I don't care how high society you think you are. I will look at everyone equally. If you excuse me, I gotta make sure the police come here immediately.
And they will be told about your involvement or lack thereof, Mr. Bodyguard.
Well,
he storms off. Unless anyone intercepts him.
No, not at all. Let him just get it away. And I clean myself with a bit of disdain and go to the phone and call the police again, just to make sure they are on their way and to inform them of anything else they need to know.
You call through to the police. This is the sheriff's department.
Yes, this is Captain Trent. I'm head of the security right now at the party at the Greenwood Mansion. I'm sorry, what's called Greenwood Mansion?
It was Green Trees.
Green Trees, sorry, I forgot. Green Trees Mansion. I believe you were called recently about something that happened here.
That's right, we had the call. We don't have anyone we can dispatch just yet, but we are aware of it. When we can, we'll send someone out there. You are quite away from the nearest town, so it's going to be a bit of a wait. Just make sure that the crime scene isn't disturbed, and we will send someone as swiftly as we can, and try not to let any guests leave. If possible. As soon as we have a car, we will send someone out to you.
Already taken care of that. But please hurry. Every minute counts.
Yes, of course.
And he hangs up. Kind of reassured the police are on their way indeed. And well, I suppose it's time to figure out who to question, where to look. So I will talk to the person who first found the body and ask him to tell me exactly. So I approach our photographer.
I've just been following you around, so I'll answer anything you got.
Okay, tell me exactly how you discovered the body. Exactly. How you discovered the body?
So I should give you a heads up. About a half hour, maybe a little bit more, 45 minutes. The bride came to me and let me know that she wanted to meet me by this lake. She didn't really tell me why. She just said she wanted to meet me by the lake. I thought that she was just trying to get away from the crowd. You were there when they were giving the speech, and some of the people that own this house were disrespecting her. She probably just wanted to get out, is what I thought. When I came walking up, I found her. There was nobody nearby. There was no obvious footprints or anything like that. It was her, and there was some blood on some stones. I didn't jump to foul play. I assumed that she slipped on the wet rocks and hit her head. And that's, I called for help. The next person I saw was the waiter that came and got you. And then I saw you.
So she was there because she wanted to speak to you privately. That's what you're saying. She was there because she wanted to speak to you privately. That's what you're saying.
Yes, and I wish I knew why. But I went out at the time she told me to meet her.
Okay. Thank you for this information. This might prove valuable. Thank you for this information. This might. Trent.
You don't mind, since me and you.
Trent. Sorry.
Do you mind if I follow you around for a bit? Do you mind if I follow you around for a bit? I don't feel taking photos anymore is going to be appropriate right now.
No, it's all right. You can be with me. Perhaps if you're interested in finding the truth, you can even help me. Okay, so Trent now starts thinking that maybe she wanted to say something to someone she could trust, but she was stopped from doing so. I don't know.
Captain,
Perhaps
I think we should talk with your fiancée. I find it highly irregular that she wouldn't be with him the whole night.
Okay. Maybe he might be the next one we can interview. I suggest.
If you allow me, I don't think I should follow you in doing these investigations. It will feel like we are crowding people. I think I should better stay here and observe the crowd in case I notice anything irregular. But you should try to be very quiet about asking people, not to disturb.
Okay, I think what you want to do is to observe. Yeah, actually, I could actually use your help. But if you want to observe, if you think you can find any information by infiltrating and observing and asking questions, as not being part of this investigation, it can be helpful too. So yes, I think that might be a very good idea. Thank you, Doctor.
Will do, no worries.
On that note, I think it would be useful for the Doctor, if he's observing the crowd milling around and everyone's emotions, to roll, not necessarily spot hidden, a skill related to something like empathy. Let's see, looking at it in Call of Cthulhu now. It'll probably be psychology, funnily enough. So yeah, let's roll on your psychology, see whether you can pick up anything strange from the behavior in the room.
That's 75 to roll.
Yeah, you should be all right with this.
I rolled 44.
You've got a 44. Okay. So what you're immediately picking up is that the room hasn't responded. And when I say the room, bear in mind this is a mansion, so you've got to do a fair amount of walking around to really get a bead on what people are feeling about this recent event. What you do glean is, if people are aware, they don't care. The party is still going. People are still eating. People are still drinking. People are still laughing, and the music is still playing. There are some moments where people seem a bit heated or in hushed conversation. Most of the guests that you think are aged between 20 and 30, they're the younger people here. The older people really just don't seem aware. They're completely oblivious. You can't see, as you examine the room, the bridegroom, Elgin Burrows, anywhere. Not since you parted ways with him.
Do I see a bar, though?
A bar?
Yes.
Yes, there's a bar.
Do I know the colonel's drink? His favorite drink?
Yeah, there will be an expensive brandy there that you could definitely procure if you're looking to ply the colonel with alcohol and get some answers from him.
I will try to get to him if I don't find anything interesting in the crowd. I will try to tend to him.
Unless you're looking somewhere specific, then you don't see anything more. So yes, you can pick up the brandy. You can take the whole bottle, to be honest. The entire thing's paid for, and take it to the colonel in the library.
Will do so, yeah.
Okay. Meanwhile, Captain Trent and Jack North, you're looking for Elgin Burrows, if I recall.
Actually, I think we should talk with the owners of the manor and inform them, since this took place in their premises, and inform them of what happened and that there will be an investigation, that the police is coming, and if they could even provide a room for our work.
The green trees, both of them, you aren't able to find, not in any of the communal areas that all the guests are hanging around. They appear to have completely vanished. You don't really remember seeing them before they came out for their big speech either.
Okay, so this is highly suspicious and irregular, because a murder took place in their property and they're nowhere to be seen. So again, I ask around if anyone might have seen them. This is important. So there was also a head of their security, if I remember correctly.
You do remember correctly.
Well, I will want to talk to him to know the whereabouts, because there's been a murder and there's people unaccounted for, and they're the proprietors of where this is happening.
The big mustached head of security isn't difficult to find. He's at the front of the building, smoking, but keeping an eye on things. And as he sees you approach, he gives you a slight nod of the head. Then he sees Jack North and rolls his eyes.
Good evening. I know we didn't start it well tonight, but you are aware that a murder has been committed in the premises.
That's right.
And I think we should collaborate to help dispose any suspicions from the green trees, and find the truth.
Well, I don't know about you, Captain, but I'm looking to just keep my head down until the night blows over. And I don't think I'm the only one.
I see. Well, do you happen to know where the green trees are now?
The last I saw of them, they were heading off with Burrows. They were going upstairs to one of their private rooms, and I just thought I'd hang about out here, take the time off. Now the wedding's not going on, I'm not going to get paid. And frankly, there's enough of us here with criminal records, outstanding and otherwise, that we don't want to be hanging around when the police turn up.
Are you suggesting many of the security are going to leave before the police arrive?
I'm suggesting a couple of them already have.
Well, Is there any way you can summon them for me, or will I have to go search for them in their private rooms myself?
Look, I can point you to where the green trees might be. But listen, as one former soldier to another, I may not have been officer class like you, but we've got one thing in common, and that's that we're not like these civilians. They will think they can lord it over you. They will think they can control you. And if you go finding them and poking your nose into their business, they'll use all kinds of dirty tricks that you wouldn't have even imagined seeing on the front. They'll destroy your life if you get in their way. I've seen them do it before. I've worked for them for long enough. But tonight, a murder? No, I think I'm done. I'll wash my hands of all this. As soon as the police have been and gone, I'm going out as well. So yeah, I'll point you to where they are. But if you try hassling the green trees, well, they'll make your life a hell.
Well, I try to be tactful. Thank you for the warning.
Same goes for you, Mr. Photographer Man. I remember those grotesque images you used to publish in dispatches. All right. Best place I can recommend, on the 3rd floor up. There's a whole bunch of what they call smoking rooms. They like to take a bit of opium up there, if you know what I mean. From time to time, it's well ventilated. Go to the 3rd floor. You'll find them.
Thank you. He nods and he talks to our friend the photographer here, and he comments, to share his thoughts. I think the wise thing to do would be to summon the butler, someone of their staff, to try and contact them there first rather than going there ourselves. This fails, then we will have to be cautious, but we will have to go there and find them.
I agree. If we have a minute, can I run and get my other camera? You have all the negatives of the body, but I just want to be able to get pictures if you need evidence.
Don't take long.
I won't. Matthew, I break away by myself, dividing.
I didn't get the end of that. I got that you break away by yourself.
I'm going back to my car to get my spare camera, and then I will try.
Okay. You get your spare camera and equipment. That's easy enough. No one's going to stop you. And hooking back up with Captain Trent afterwards isn't going to be a problem. What I'm interested in is what you intend to take photos of.
So I am a civilian who, while I don't have the power to be manipulative, I have the charisma and charm to be manipulative. And if these guys are going to blackmail us simply for riling up their property and their party, if I can, take a picture of them doing illegal drugs, I will be happy to blackmail them if they're.
Okay, that's a good idea. It's not something I accounted for as keeper and writer of the scenario, but I quite like the idea. Yes, absolutely fine with that. So I'm going to cut back to the doctor now, who's going up to the colonel with his brandy.
Yep. Do I know where he went to be with himself?
He went to the library, which was where you last, which was the room the captain had stumbled out of.
Okay, I will try to approach extremely discreetly, not invade his privacy and his moment, and announce myself as I enter the room. Not really trying to be very wordy. I will mostly fix a drink for both of us, place it close to him, not in front of his face, and try to take a seat not directly in front of him, and wait if he wants to speak.
Seeing the brandy, he gives you a nod. There's no glasses, so he drinks it from the bottle, and he's not ashamed of doing so. He drinks it for quite a while, chugging gulp after gulp. When he finishes, he retches a little, because one should not imbibe that much alcohol at once, but keeps it down. Puts the very expensive liqueur on the table beside him. I'm beholden to you, sir.
The doctor will take out a wooden pipe that he has and pick some tobacco and try to be as calm as possible and say, the colonel, listen, colonel, I have some suspicion about what I heard from the photographer. He, not that I'm suspicious of him, but your daughter tried to disclose some information, maybe a warning. I'm not sure. I cannot be sure. But she tried to tell him that she will probably be there, or that she's expecting to be found there. I don't want to presume a lot of things. And can you tell me if she was trying to somehow communicate with you anything during recent time, or she was distressed about anything other than the wedding, anything that she tried to keep to herself?
I've always been very close with my daughter after my wife died. We've always been very close. She's always been able to tell me anything, and even though I've judged her for it, I've always listened. I've always tried to be the best father figure I could. And she told me before this wedding that she had some misgivings. She doesn't like all of Elgin's friends. I don't think she particularly liked Elgin, but I wondered if they had something on her that was forcing her to get married.
You think so? What could it be?
Well, this is where I'm divided, Doc, because Delia was a young woman who liked to have a good time. So on one hand, despite everything that's just happened, I'm blaming her and thinking, why did you have to go down that path? And on the
Was
other,
was it drugs?
No, you go ahead. I'm lost in my own thoughts.
Was it drugs? Was it anything more dangerous?
I'm fairly certain she took drugs. She drove cars too fast. She once told me whilst she was drunk about how this group of friends of hers, this golden generation, as they call themselves, would sometimes get the servants in parties like this, and they'd humiliate them, I think is the mildest way of putting it, for fun. I said the word I used when I was discussing this with Delia was, you torture the staff. And she laughed and said, no, it's never that serious, but I could tell that was something she was keeping back from me. That was the point I realized I didn't really know my daughter at all anymore. It was like she wanted to tell me about this depraved group, but could only let out little edges of truth. She couldn't tell me the whole thing, maybe because she was afraid, maybe because she was worried about what I would do to her if she did. I should have done more to keep her away from them. But young people, birds of a feather and all that, not having a mother, she fell in with the wrong crowd. I wonder, and I still wonder, whether they were just after my money.
Listen, Colonel, let's not try to dig any motives. Let's try to remember when she told you about the torturing or the humiliation, however you put it, did you notice that on some levels she was feeling guilty?
I think so. I think I could always tell when my daughter had done something wrong and she was too ashamed to speak up about it, finding a hand in the cookie jar, that kind of thing.
Yes.
And that was the feeling I got, that something had happened that she wanted to tell me, but she just couldn't bring herself to say all of it. Maybe it's because I jumped straight to torture when she was talking about this humiliation. She suddenly froze up, laughed, said, "No, nothing like that," changed the subject.
Listen, I think that it would be to her honor if you try to remember as many things as possible about this. If there was anything that would single her out in that weird group of people, it'd be that she's probably not willing to participate in this humiliation of innocent stuff.
I guess
Um,
speak to the staff here, see whether any of them would tell you about things they've been through.
do you know anyone in particular who was receiving this behavior?
No, she didn't name anybody.
Okay. Once again, I'm lost for words. This is terrible. This is terrible.
I appreciate you trying to find the truth of this, because frankly, despite being a man of the law myself, I just know that when the police get involved, people with the amount of power and credit as the green trees will get this swept under the rug. A judge's daughter's death will be considered a misadventure, that drunk and excited the night before her wedding, she slipped on the rocks and hit her head. I would bet my fortune on it.
Let's be as brave as possible to deter any such attempts. Let's make it hard for them. I would be extremely enraged if anything like this happens. This is very wrong. Whatever happened here.
If something like that happens, I will not be held responsible for the actions I go on to take.
I understand.
I would be alone for a while, if that's okay, Doc. I've got a meeting with this bottle of brandy, and I intend to spend the next few minutes talking to it.
Not a problem. Not a problem. I'll be on my way. Take a minute.
Captain Trent and Jack North. Where are you headed now? Straight to the third floor?
Actually, like I said, I would like to talk to the butler
Mm-hmm.
and ask him if he could summon the green trees from the third floor to discuss what just happened and explain to him this extreme importance. And it's also important to dispel any suspicions from them. But I just like to talk to them, and if he could just summon them, before trying to go in there directly.
You The butler nods, listens, smiles, and then shakes his head. If the green trees do not wish to be disturbed, sir, they will not be disturbed. When the police arrive, then they will answer questions, but for you, sir, they will not.
I see, I understand completely. I half smile and I turn away. And, well, I discuss with my friend the photographer here. It looks like there's no easy way to approach this. A frontal assault might not be the best idea, but I don't see many more options here. What do you think, my friend?
And by the way, just before you start speaking, David, just to let you know, with the lag issue we currently have, not only are you going to need to build in 3 seconds before you start speaking, you're going to need to build in 3 seconds after you've finished before you mute your mic again, because we're occasionally getting the end. I have no idea how this lag is. I've never even encountered it working like this before, but we'll deal with it. Point being that your speech is like 3 to 5 seconds removed, so it means the end sometimes gets cut off. So there you go.
So, if you're absolutely right, a frontal entry isn't going to be ideal. Do mansions like this, and I know I'll need to mute for you to answer, but do mansions like this have any servants' passageways or spaces I could try to stealth through? I actually have a pretty decent stealth score. I could try to sneak up on them and observe them. So I'd like to try to find that and do that if that's possible.
Yep, go for it. I would recommend using using your stealth skill and attempting to roll beneath that. You're not essentially using this to sneak around, but to identify where these servants' passageways would be.
Also, and one more thing, as far as secret passages go, I might have a crazy idea where to look, like for no reasons easy to explain, but there was this door that I don't know, maybe my subconscious was trying to tell me something, so maybe I suggest we try that.
Yeah. So you believe there's a door in the library where Judge Harmon currently is.
Well, it's no harm in checking, and maybe if I'm crazy, then I'll just confirm. Yeah, I'm just crazy, but I don't know.
Well, let's see what Jack North has managed first.
Okay.
I did succeed. It's a minor success. I rolled a 76. My sneak is 80.
Ooh, okay. So your attempts to discover the servants' passages through the house. The house isn't nearly old enough to justify them, but they definitely exist because, as with many American mansions, they're modeled on early 19th century, late 18th century British and French mansions. So it's essentially mocked up to look this way. With your minor success, you're unable to find anything that's truly concealed, but through having a bit of a snoop around and sticking your head in the kitchen, you can find a door that, when you take your head out of that room and try and look around, you think that if that led to a corridor, it'd probably go round that banquet hall. It's probably going to lead to various smoking rooms, lounges, studies, and the like, where a servant could quite easily sneak in, plant a tray of drinks or food, and then sneak out again without causing a disturbance. So at the very least, there's a secret passage in the kitchen that doesn't necessarily lead to the conservatory.
I will point out this option to the captain. And I'll say it's up to him. We can take that route, or we can try to go through the library.
Well, let's try this route first, and as a last resort, we can try my visions, see if they help us. But let's go more down to the earth approach first. Let's do this.
As the two of you are just talking about going into the kitchen, that's when the doctor will have arrived as well, just in case you do want to go around as a group. If not, though, Dr. Vanderberg can choose to do something else. What do you think, Doc?
I'm not sure what is their intentions as I meet them, but I'm very eager to know what is happening, what's new.
Maybe, well, I put him up to date with what we found out and communicate him our intentions to use the secret passage. Perhaps if you can join us, or maybe you can check the library.
The problem is that in the library is the father of the bride. I really don't want to disturb him anymore. I tried to get precious information that would have risen to the consciousness of the man about anything he's suspicious of, and I think I should be trying to talk to the staff of this mansion. What I've managed to put together is that there's probably been some very weird activity that certainly might be made the bride be in danger from this group of golden generation. I find this whole very peculiar, but I want to speak to the staff. I want to find out if they know of anything that happened that is dangerous or suspicious. So I'm not think as an old man will be very fit to sneak up on the rich people, and I would actually be very much afraid of their reaction. I really think you should be very cautious about it. And the judge himself said that these people will pull strings and will try to get themselves out of harm's way and possibly throw you in as the murderers. I really want you to be careful.
Okay. Yeah, I like this two-front approach. You see what you can find out from the staff, and we will see if we can sneak around and find out what we can that way.
For sure.
So perhaps we could start with that now. Do we head straight to the kitchen?
Yeah, as you enter the kitchen, a young woman who you think you've seen before, one of the, I guess, let's see, just one of the kitchen staff. Yeah, who you met before in your tour around the building by the name of Rose, is there working away rather idly at some pastries. She doesn't really seem to know what she's doing, and seeing the three of you enter the kitchen, she raises an eyebrow. What are you doing in here?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. You probably didn't hear. Well, there was a murder in the premises, ma'am.
A murder?
I regret to inform so. But yes. And we are conducting an investigation. As you are aware, I'm head of security.
Of course. Who died?
Well, I'm afraid the bride died. The colonel's daughter.
How's her dad? How's her father?
Well, his father, of course, what you can expect, is very shaken at the moment.
He
But
must be heartbroken.
indeed. But I'm afraid I cannot discuss details of the investigation as it is taking place as we speak.
Of course. Well, I hope that you uncover something. Oh, I really don't know what to do with myself now. Porn
It's
is
okay.
hard.
There's not much you can do. If we need your help, we will let you know.
Is there
However,
a suspect?
sorry?
Is there a suspect? Is there someone you think is responsible?
Like I just said, the investigation is taking place. It's too early to go for any such details right now.
Well, if you need access to the servants' entrance, yeah, she points at the door. I won't tell anyone you've been this way.
Thank you. You're very helpful. I will remember this in the future.
Yeah, it looks like it looks like Jack North wants to say something.
David was going to suggest to the player of our doctor that he does a psychology check on the motives of this girl that's really interested in if we have any suspects. He doesn't have to, just suggestion.
What do you think, Vanderberg?
Am I with them? Yeah, definitely. I will try to discreetly ask if she was doing anything while this whole thing happened in the past 30 minutes or so.
Me, in the last 30 minutes, what was I doing? I was working in the kitchen. I was on my break, and then I was working in the kitchen again.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that you must be in big distress with something like that happening. I'm sure it's.
I had no idea. I'm just feel so sorry for her family.
As we all.
She seemed really. She seemed friendly to me. I think from the little I spoke to her, she came across as very prickly, but I think she was far nicer than anyone ever really knew.
Well, did you talk with her? I have to agree, first of all, because I also knew her, and I mostly knew her father, and they they were very very lovely with each other, and it was very obvious to me that she was very kind. Do you also know her? Do you also know her?
Well, I didn't know her well. I've only met her a few times, but I've worked at the house for a while, so I've seen her coming and going. She wasn't like the other people here. Not so much. She was much nicer.
The other people, right? She was kinder to you, and
Oh, definitely. She was a saint compared to the rest of them.
I'm actually getting a little bit worried about the owners of the estate. Was it so much worse compared to her, with the others?
They like to have. She's looking around, see if there's any other staff nearby. They sometimes take members of the staff for what they call the games.
The games.
I don't know how much I should really be saying, but my gosh, that poor lady, she didn't deserve to die.
Listen, if I can have your name, my name is Dr. Ann Vandenberg. What you are saying to me sounds very weird. What kind of games would they be playing with people? This is...
Well, my name is Rose. I work in the kitchens here, and I don't want to be indecent, but sometimes they select, especially the young women, and they use them like you know. But other times, usually with men, they will do boarding school style punishments. They'll strip them and blackball them and make them run around the grounds or hunt them around the grounds. It's really quite terrible here.
Rose,
Good Lord.
I cannot just express myself in terms of how horrible I think this is, and I'm very sorry for what you might have been through, and I understand that there are some good people that you know who've also endured a lot here. I think, out of respect towards the victim's father and herself, that you try to conceal as much as it is safe for you to the police. And let me tell you that to whatever ends I might provide to you, I will try to keep you safe if you feel that you are in danger. I want you to trust me, but what information you are disclosing right now is very disturbing, and I think it cannot be completely relevant with what happened tonight.
You're a doctor, aren't you? You said.
Yes, that's true.
And you're friends with
the father of the bride.
Yes. She runs into your arms suddenly, collapsing. And
I embrace you.
Please look after me.
Are you in danger? Are you?
I think I will be. I think I need to be taken away from here. When you leave, I need to be taken away from here and kept safe.
This will be my number one priority. Let me help you get out of here. I have my own vehicle with which I came here. Let's try to get you somewhere where you can talk. I think I should head off to the police, to the sheriff's station to try to inform them about anything that you've just told me.
I'm so sorry.
Good Lord, my girl. I had no idea about this, but you can count on us. We will look after you. Don't worry. And we will make these degenerates pay for what they're doing. Don't worry, it's over. It's over now. You will be fine.
Thank you so much.
So I try to be very gentle with her, not to disturb her anymore, and try to escort her to my car.
Okay, so you're going to be driving with her to the local sheriff.
The sheriff.
Yep. And the two of you are going to be sneaking around the house. Jack North, before she leaves, is there anything you want to do?
No. If the doctor hadn't done that, that's pretty much what I was going to do. So good job, doctor.
Very good. Okay, Captain Trent, you are about to embark on the journey through the secret passages of the building. You open the door, and it isn't some dusty corridor lined with cobwebs and flickering light bulbs. This is well trod. The servants here clearly use these passages quite often. They're no doubt trained and ordered to do so. And so you make your way through. It's lit by lamps every 15, 20 feet or so, so it's pretty well illuminated. And occasionally you're passing by other doors that you assume would lead you out into other rooms. As you get to the end of the winding passage, you get to a staircase that one heads down, one heads up, right next to each other.
Well, we have to go to the third floor, so I suppose we have to go up. So, shall we?
Okay, you ascend the staircase. As you go up, the servants' passages are actually looking slightly more ornate. It looks like the ground floor is pretty traditional, just wood paneling. As you go up, there's more decoration. There's a bit of marble ribbing as you get to the first floor and second floor, and you don't know whether it's just because you're on the other side of well decked out rooms, and it just so happens the architecture is leaking through into these secret corridors, or whether someone's actually gone to the trouble of making the servants' passages quite opulent to look at. I mean, why would someone do something like that? You do notice as you're going along, passing another set of doors. You're on the first floor right now. You shudder, Captain Trent, because the door that you're stood next to is almost certainly the door that you picked up in your vision.
There. This must be the door. I'm pretty sure the library is right behind this door. And look at this. This doesn't look something like servants would use. Look at all the decorations. So, how could I know about this door?
This is the first I'm hearing about the door. Do you want to open it?
Well, if I'm correct, I'm sorry, you are not up to date to this event. I'm pretty sure that if we open this door, we'll end up in the library. So, no point going there now. I guess we'll have to keep moving to the third floor. But yes, this is all very strange. Don't you think this
is very well dressed for a door on this side of the door on the servants' quarters? The door is padded with yellow stained leather, essentially, and studded. So it's quite a beautiful door, and you don't remember seeing a door like this in the library. This is definitely the door that was in your vision. You don't remember seeing it in the library.
Yes. Yeah, I assume perhaps it's because it's hidden. The door maybe was hidden behind the bookshelves. Well, I guess maybe out of curiosity, I could try open it and see if there are bookshelves behind it. I don't know, maybe just to put my mind at ease that it's just a normal door, that there's nothing supernatural about it.
What could it hurt? What could it hurt?
Really? Okay.
Which one of you wants to open the door?
Well, as the soldier I am, and perhaps against better judgment, of against my better judgment, I will face my fears and my visions. And try to open it myself.
Okay, you
My
put
chest.
your hand on the brass doorknob.
Yes, and I turn.
Mm-hmm.
And does it pull or does it go forward?
It would be a door that would push open. There's not enough room in the corridor otherwise. So it pushes inwards to the room. And as it does, you hear an awful, and this is all internal. Jack North does not experience this. You hear an awful shrieking, just shriek, 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 like some kind of bat or bird, some kind of carrion bird, letting out an awful keening noise inside your head, Captain Trent, and flashes of yellow and orange and red and blood stains and blood spatters, just poof, 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 like something strobing inside your head. Could you do a sanity roll, please?
Mm-hmm.
For the man with no sanity.
I should have my dice more at the ready. Now, there's one, and well, here are 2 defense. That's 50.
Ooh. Well, that's a failure then, isn't it? Do you want to push it and roll again? Or do you want to spend luck to basically, if you got the luck, you can always spend, what would it be, 26 points of luck to bring it back to your sanity threshold?
I will spend the luck.
Okay, that's what it's there for. In that case, you do not have a complete mental breakdown at this point and dissolve into a puddle of tears and screams. Instead, you are gripping both of the door frames as the door opens in front of you. You're clenching so tight that Jack can see your nails embedding themselves in the wood through the paint. And you exhale, you open your eyes, and you feel like you've just overcome whatever it was that was assaulting your mind. You know now this isn't shell shock. This isn't trauma from the war. This is something completely different. You've never experienced something like this before.
Yes. Well, sorry, you want to say something?
Okay. You okay?
Sorry, you want to say something?
I just like, are you okay?
Well, I am now, but there was something very strange about this. This is, you know, I know you know I've been in a mental institution, but this is not me being crazy. This is something else. Something is going on here, and I don't know what the hell it is.
Cults, weird, like secret societies. I'll believe you. I'll take your word for it. So what's inside this room?
At this point, I'm looking inside from outside, right?
Mm-hmm. The room itself is pretty plain, all told. There's a table, very simple, by no means antique. There's 3 chairs around it, one on either end of the lengthy end, and one with its back to you. The table itself, you're not close enough yet to examine, but the most striking feature of this otherwise pretty much bare room is an incredibly expensive, very, very large looking portrait of a monarch, a king. You can by all means do some kind of history roll if you've got something like that. You can't see from the doorway if there's a plaque that would identify who the king is.
Okay, it couldn't hurt. Let me see if I have a history. Okay, let's just roll.
I'm going to say that as Captain Trent is British, then I'm going to give you some leeway here, and you can actually add 20% to your skill.
Well, I have 25 in the roll. I have 5 base history plus 20. Equal 23 is under 25.
The king appears to be Charles II of the House of Stuart, notable for his, well, he has a rather large nose, has a well-known, I guess, almost cloak of hair in curls that rolls down the sides of his head, and rakish mustache. He wears a crown on top of that, voluminous garb, a scepter in hand. Now, the most bizarre thing about this is, while you can pretty easily identify this as Charles II, the thing that is off is the color of his hair, or his wig. It's the color of straw or spun gold, and his face looks slightly sallow, like it's sick. It's not made up with the old arsenic paint to make him beautiful. He looks emaciated. You have seen a portrait of Charles II before, if not multiple portraits, in the National Portrait Gallery or elsewhere in a history book. This is nothing like you've seen before, but it's definitely supposed to be him.
Okay.
Now, I'll give you one more thing about it. This isn't the kind of portrait whose eyes follow you around the room, because Charles's eyes in this portrait are all just one color. They're just black. Black all the way across. There's no white to his eyes.
I see. This room is illuminated. The lights are on.
There is a light in here, and the light is on.
Okay. I find this very curious. Okay, maybe we should go in, take a better look.
It looks like Jack North is taking a photo right from the doorway.
And does he have the flash on?
If there's enough lighting, I won't. If there's not enough lighting, I will.
Mm-hmm. You take a photo. It's easy enough to do, and yeah, there's enough lighting to illuminate the portrait. To be honest, the light is set up to illuminate the portrait.
Well, I would have been more startled with the flash, but I'm like, again, taking pictures. I see. Well, be my guest.
It's what I do.
Well, why don't we go inside and document the entire room? Might as well.
Okay, as you enter this strange chamber that shouldn't really exist if that door is in the wall of the library, you're not really sure what you're walking into, but maybe the architectural niceties haven't quite settled in yet. Meanwhile, in a car on the way to the sheriff's station, Dr. Vanderberg.
How is my co-passenger?
She is panicking a little as you drive away, but as you make your way down the drive away from the house, leaving it in the distance, she breathes out a few times, she exhales, she seems incredibly relieved.
I'm trying to drive in a manner that is not at all hasty. I try to look as much as in control of the situation as is possible, and with a calm voice, I tell her, "We're moving away from this place. You're absolutely safe. I will make sure that nobody tries to pin anything to you, and I will make sure that the sheriff takes what you have to say very seriously. I appreciate very much that you're helping me."
You have no idea. If I had any way of being able to repay you your kindness, I would.
Your assistance to my friend and the strategy is more than enough.
I suppose a doctor makes a good enough wage as it is.
Yes, you can say that.
I notice you have an accent. Where is it that you're from?
From the Netherlands.
Oh, I've never been. I would love to one day. I hear it's very peaceful there.
Yes, it is very beautiful indeed. I come from a town outside Utrecht.
Well, I can't say I know Utrecht, but I certainly hope to visit. It can't be any worse than here.
Where do you come from, Rose?
She pauses for a while. I'm from all over the place, really. I don't have much of a family. I was adopted, and I just grew up in the serving class, working for various families until I ended up working for the green trees. And usually when you work for the green trees, you stay there until they release you from that profession. From there.
Release you. Have you seen anybody be released?
Oh, you hear of it happening once or twice. It often happens with security. Security come and go, but the maids, the kitchen staff, the butler, the bursar, they've all been around for quite some time.
Do you have a good relationship with the other stuff?
No, some of them, I think some of them enjoy the house owners' activities. Some of them will position themselves to be the individuals that select the next participants in the games.
So they are trying to be selected, you're saying?
Some of them, I've never been able to fit in with that kind of thing. I guess I am what you might call a good girl. I've never wanted to do anything like this, but I've been too afraid to leave. I remember one maid did try to escape once, and she was brought back, and I know she was brought back because we all heard her being dragged back into the house screaming, and then we heard nothing for 3 months. And when she emerged again working in the house, it was like she had been completely, I guess, convinced to toe the line.
The doctor looks obviously worried, but he does this to mask his peeking towards the passenger. I'm trying to see if she's holding on to anything a bug, if she's at any way dangerous. Very mildly, just checking, just taking a look.
Do a. I'm not going to make you roll for it because you're looking at someone who's right next to you. So, and the road is empty enough. You can take your time, and if she catches you out on it, she pass yourself off as some kind of ledge. Not that it's ideal that you would, but still. She doesn't have a bag. You basically liberated her from the kitchens, and she came with her uniform. What you do notice about her is she's quite bedraggled. She doesn't look as neat and tidy as all of the rest of the staff, quite frankly, did for an event as important as the wedding of Elgin Burrows to Delia Harmon. Her hair's a little out of place. Her eyes are quite twitchy, backwards and forwards. Her hands are wringing each other, and you can see she's actually got very dark lines under her fingernails that could be blood. It could be blood. It could be mud. It could be anything. She has been working in a kitchen all night. But in your paranoia, you think this kitchen staff, may have bloody fingernails.
So I'll try to not speak for a few moments, just a few moments, and then I will just pop a question very, very suddenly. When was the last time this whole thing happened to you?
When was I last? The trophy, I suppose, 3 weeks ago. I don't really like to recall it, if that's all right.
Oh yes, I understand. I'm sorry to bring it up.
No. It's okay. I understand why you are asking these questions. It's just very unpleasant to remember.
Yes, and to be frank, I might be too curious right now. It's not fair towards you to be asking these questions. It's all right.
I feel like we have, if I dare say so, Doctor, I feel like we have a bit of a connection. She smiles at you.
I do not discourage it, but nor do I encourage it either. I try to pretend that I didn't notice.
Just promise me you'll keep me safe from them.
Yes, of course. Like we are heading right to the sheriff right now. Like it's all gonna be over very soon. Trust me.
She reaches over, clasps your hand on the steering wheel, and gives it a squeeze. Thank you so much. You have no idea how much this means to me.
It's quite all right. Can you pass me the gloves that I have on this compartment? I try to force her to remove her hand by picking up something from me.
Yeah, yes, of course. She looks for your driving gloves and passes them over to you.
Thank you very much. I try to be a little bit strict so that she feels that I don't like her attention.
It makes her clam up for a while.
Nice.
Okay. Meanwhile, back at the house, you're examining the room. As you enter it, you're noticing in each of the corners of the room there's a hole in the floor, circular, has the wooden floor belies the fact that these circular holes that are no bigger than 2 hands together have a stone perimeter around the outside, which is odd. It's no ornamental feature you can imagine. Certainly, you've seen in servants' quarters before holes that people would shout orders down, or that might go down tubes to other rooms, but this doesn't really look like a servant's quarters. So you're not really sure what they're for. Maybe they're just vases that are embedded in the ground. The table itself is stained, and you are pretty certain it's stained with blood. You haven't spent much time in abattoirs, in butchers, but you have both seen enough blood to know what blood is, and this table has had blood spilled on it.
I want to take a photograph of this. Might be evidence for later. And perhaps to try to use a spot hidden, try to figure out what it is. I don't know if it is a roll or something.
What are you looking for?
Just trying to figure out what the holes are.
Mm-hmm.
What could they be used for?
In that case, yeah, there's no roll really, so I think you can use spot hidden just to see what you can detect from them.
Okay, try to take a closer look at the holes and see if I find anything else. And no, I fail completely. 77. Apparently I don't see anything else.
Well, no, I mean, you can look down, and even on a failure, you can see that in those stone circles surrounding the holes, there are etchings of letters. You think they're letters. There could be symbols, but you don't recognize them. But looking into the holes as you are, you can't see where they lead, what they could be for. They might just be part of the plumbing where pipes have been removed.
I see. Are there any books in the room?
Nope, no books. Well, you have your portrait, you have your table, your chairs, and your 4 holes in the wooden floor. What about North? What's Jack doing?
I also failed the spot hidden, so I don't get any special details. But I will, if the captain, like he said, take a picture of the table, and I will take a picture that tries to get some of the markings of one of those holes. Otherwise, I'm going to say, Captain, I think this might be it. We should probably keep moving on up the servants' quarters.
Yes, indeed. There's
The door
nothing else
closes.
to see here. Sorry?
The door closes, which is quite a feat because it would require it to be pulled shut.
It closes by itself. I don't see any arm pulling the door.
Nope.
So, what is this? A mechanism of some sort, or I'm going crazy again? Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw it. Are there handles on this side of the door?
No, there is no handle on this side of the door. Do a listen roll, please, both of you.
Okay. I must be deaf.
Yeah, both of you are, apparently. Because neither of you hear the hiss of the odorless gas that is pumped in through the holes in the floor. And odorless, you don't smell it either. But that doesn't mean you're not trying to get out of the room quickly. So what action are you going to take?
Do I see any other exits? Anything that could?
Nope, this is
Okay,
a totally room.
I'm gonna just kick the damn door out.
Okay.
Kick it, or are there any objects that could help me?
So, in terms of what you have on you, you don't really have any tools for prying the door open, and the table and chairs don't really offer you anything either. To be honest, the best thing in the room, and this is me being generous, would be if you were to take the portrait down, dismantle the frame, and use one side of it to use as a sort of pry bar. But it's up to you. You could just use your brute strength against the door and hope that that will make it through.
Yeah, I could ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
Doing this, maybe coordinating. Is a wooden door?
You don't know if the door itself is wooden or whether, because all you've been able to see is the leather padding on either side of it, which is that awful yellow color, and it's been studded between. It's probably wooden, almost definitely, but you don't know for sure.
I will try to use my strength and probably my more of my strength. Put my weight behind it, sort of kind of pry it open with the what you just said, the frame of the painting.
Oh, okay. So you are going to take the painting down. Well, North, I'm going to look to Jack North. What are you doing? North, I'm going to look to Jack North. What are you doing?
Since I'm not very strong, I actually was going to, before you said the suggestion, I was going to pull the painting off to try to get him something he can use for leverage.
So
because he's the strong.
Let's say that's what happens. I try to go to the door, and he said, "Wait," and hands me the frame. I think it was his idea, and I used this, and I asked him for help too. Push behind me, and putting our weight together, we can pry it open.
Well, what you discover just before you're able to do that is, as you take the picture frame off the wall, you realize that the painting isn't actually painted on a canvas that's held within the frame. The frame is more like a window frame because the painting is actually on the wall. It just so happened to have a frame around it. And so as you take the frame down, the picture stays exactly where it is. And it's around the edges of the painting, it's smudged, it's multiple colors, it's quite hypnotic, but you are intent on your action. You're not being distracted by this. You break the frame. You both take to the door. I'm going to require at this point that you make either, I think a strength roll is probably appropriate, to be honest. And as you're being assisted, Captain Trent, I'm going to give you an additional, again, 20% to your strength. Jack North isn't the strongest of individuals, but he is able to help with weight on when prying something.
What I wanted, I'm going to use strength, but I sort of wanted to use my size. I'm rather a large individual.
Oh, yeah. By all means, use your size. Let's say
like to put my weight like.
It's a characteristic most people don't roll against, so good for you. Yeah, do it.
Trying to be smart about it. Perhaps I can go into detail why on some of my hand-to-hand combat sessions, how that helps. Anyway, it has helped me being a rather large person. So it's 49, and my size is 75.
Okay, yeah, you're good then. So just as the two of you start to feel the room spin around you, It's almost as if you're breathing in a toxic gas. You are able to pry the door open in your direction, and one of you can squeeze out. It is almost as if it wants to shut again. So you're holding it open, Captain Trent. Is North going to escape first, or is Trent going to escape first?
I tell him to go first.
I tell him to go first.
No argument here. If he's telling me to save myself, I save myself.
Okay, North, as you are sliding between the door and the frame through the gap, you are facing the captain and therefore looking into the room. Do a sanity roll.
I succeed. I'm at a 47 and I rolled a 24.
In that case, you are not stunned into silence and pointing, as you can see the portrait of Charles II on the wall isn't just standing there all regal anymore. It is leaning out of the wall like that towards the back of Captain Trent. And you are able to shout out and say...
I will. I'll be like, Captain, behind you. And if I can try to like grab the captain's shirt and try to help pull him through, I'm gonna start.
Okay, North. I know it isn't your strong suit, but this is why it's always more fun to roll characteristics that people are bad at. So, Jack North, roll your strength and feel free to push it if it fails, or use your luck. Otherwise, it's very important. It's very important.
I have a 30. I rolled a 35. I will spend 5 of my luck to succeed.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Given that Captain Trent has already had to spend over 20 of his luck and you only have to spend 5, you, maybe fueled by adrenaline, are able to grab Captain Trent and with more strength than you even knew you possessed, yank him through the gap in the doorway, at which point it slams on both of you, and you are both in the corridor. The corridor is spinning, it's blurry, it takes a while for you to regain and your footing, and you are both almost certain at this point that there was a gas in that room. It could have been something as simple as carbon monoxide just filling the chamber, but you feel safe. Captain Trent at no point saw the portrait come to life.
Okay, I'm trying to recover, I guess. What the hell was that?
What the hell was that?
You're going to think I'm crazy, but the portrait was stepping out of the picture and coming at you.
Well, it's not the first time I get poisoned here, at least I think. So just be calm. Maybe it's just the poisonous gases that playing tricks. We have to be very careful here. This whole damn place is probably will be trapped with poison gas or whatever. And this is the proof. We have to be very careful.
Meanwhile, back in the car.
Great.
I like it when the tension mounts.
Oh. So I'm driving and I'm trying not to make it a notice, but I'm actually now speeding a little bit towards the sheriff's station. Yes, I'm kind of speeding.
She is pretty quiet after the entire glove incident, and occasionally she looks up at you.
I try to always respond very, very kindly and try to keep her outside of the awkward zone
Mhm.
and break a little bit of conversation saying, what of your parents? Like, did you never meet them? Well, you know nothing of them?
No, I can't remember anything about them.
When was the first time you had to do this kind of job? What was the first house you had to be there?
There was I worked in a house in New York City for a year. That was my first job. It was nice, simple scullery work. Didn't Obviously the pay wasn't very good, so I looked for opportunities elsewhere. Saw adverts in the newspapers, and eventually that path took me out to the Hamptons. And often, I guess maids are told that if you can get a house in the Hamptons, you're going to be set for life.
Oh, and what is the plan, the long-term plan? Like, are you trying to collect some money, and what happens afterwards?
I guess the plan for life is to find a husband. She looks at you and smiles, despite our low station, and yeah, have enough money to retire on, maybe buy a house, a cottage on the coast or something like that. Certainly, I would never have enough money to have a mansion of my own, and knowing how people treat their servants, I don't think I would ever want any. I would just want something quiet to be able to retire to, and I think a lot of that is dependent on actually having a husband. I was nearly married once, but that didn't work out.
Oh, I'm very much supportive of the institution of marriage. I take it that you are a good Christian as well, right?
Oh yes. Well, as much as we can. I mean, they don't have a chapel at the house, and we're not allowed to go to church on Sunday.
Would you have gone though if you were given the chance?
Oh, of course, yes. My faith has always given me a great deal of comfort, especially in the most trying times at the house.
What happened? What happened with you nearly getting married? I didn't quite catch that.
Oh no, I shouldn't have even mentioned that. It was a long time ago. She's only in her early 20s, but it was a long time ago. I knew a man who I thought was going to be a good match, and he turned out to not be. And he had some pretty vile friends.
Hmm. Listen, luck is the only way to find something that is befitting of your kindness and your character. I sincerely hope that you do find somebody.
Oh,
Myself, I'm already married with two children.
Oh,
Yes, they're studying. They're studying abroad.
oh, I see.
Yes,
Okay.
marriage is a very befitting way to spend one's life. I take it. It's a very good place to be, indeed.
Yes. Well, I'm not just going to jump in with both feet to a union with someone I feel would be a bad match. Almost made that mistake once before. I'm not going to do that again.
That's a wise choice.
Did you speak to Miss Harmon's father?
I have spoken to him. Yes, we are acquainted.
How did he take the news?
Oh, he was shattered. He was shattered. This is going to take a toll on him. He really loved his daughter.
I know. I'm sure he did. That poor man has no family at all now.
I guess. I mean, he's a man of the army, so
Yes, I suppose he has friends he commiserate with.
yes. He's very capable of dealing with this, I believe. I know his character, and he has endured a lot. This is going to be maybe the hardest yet, but I feel that he has it within him to withstand this.
I hope so. I do hope so. He seems like such a nice man.
Yes, he's honorable.
Mm. And you arrive at the sheriff's station.
Yes. I'm actually a little bit delighted that I managed to get here, and because I'm beginning to work up a paranoia about her, and I get off the car, and I'm asking her to come with me, walking towards the cell.
Doctor, please, before we go in,
Yes, Rose.
I know what I said about the house and everything that was going on there is awful, but is it not possible for you to tell the sheriff, and could you not drop me at the nearest train station rather than having me make some kind of testament, some kind of statement to the police? I'd really prefer my name wasn't on that kind of thing. I'm sure you understand.
I do understand. I do understand, Rose, and I will make sure that nobody records your name. I will. I understand. I understand how you feel. I will be feeling the same way, and I want to assure you that I will take care of you being able to get to the train station and wherever else you might want to be. I might even be able to help you with some resources, but I think it is highly important that you talk to the sheriff. And he's a reasonable man. I don't think that it's going to be any trouble for you. I will make sure of that.
Okay. There may be some things I don't remember, but I will try my best.
That's perfectly all right.
You head into the sheriff's station. There's an old man sat there, sat at a desk, working on paperwork. There's a telephone beside him. He looks up. Can I help you?
Hello, sir. Hello. Good evening. This is a very disturbing time. Have you received a phone call about the murder at the Green Trees mansion?
About the assumed murder at the Green Trees Mansion. Yeah, we got the call. As you can see out front, I don't have any cars. Well, I don't have any personnel. I've got to stay here, and the deputy is out doing something else right now. So the muckety mucks at the Green Trees Mansion are just going to have to wait.
Okay, I understand. This is perfectly all right.
Woman died. I'm sorry. Who are you?
I am Dr. Han Vanderberg. I take a very serious look. I extend a handshake, and I try to look him in the eyes.
Rose is pretty much hiding behind you after the sheriff asked her who she is. So, what, are you gonna fill me in about the case now? Is that why you're both here? Or are you intending on giving me a lift back to the house?
Well,
Because I can't leave the station unattended. If there's a crime happens, someone needs to be here to record it.
I can give you what I know. So what happened initially.
Okay, wait. He gets a pen out, dips it.
So,
And what's your name again?
my name is Dr. Han van den Berg.
Van der Berg. Is that all one word?
Yes, you can type it this way.
And rather than telling me exactly what you tell him, what in general terms do you tell him?
I mentioned how we were asked to find the body in the woods by the waiter. I tell him about what the victim had told the photographer, what she, what I managed to get out of your father a little bit, and how he's suspicious of the members of the company of the groom, and being suspicious, I tell him that I talked with one of the maids who came with me. This is Miss Rose here, and she had some very disturbing things to share with you about what is going on in that house. And frankly, I'm I don't know, I'm flabbergasted about the whole situation.
And what's your surname, Miss? He says to Rose. I would really rather not say what my surname is. I'm going to need your surname for the report. Your family name. What is it? I'm not going to tell you. Well, you see, Doctor, I can't just take down the statement of a passing Rose.
I understand that. You don't need to take her statement just yet. I would. Why don't we just hear her out?
She goes roughly over the same information that she spoke to you and your companions about in the kitchen and with you in the car. She isn't as detailed. She's a little more baggy with her information, but it's enough to pique the sheriff's curiosity. Well, it sounds like a real den of depravity up at that mansion. Hardly surprising, he says.
Well, I'm very worried about what happened to the victim.
Sounds like one of their games got out of hand, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I imagine if we look into it, that's the kind of thing we're going to find. But you know how these types close ranks, Doctor. They're not going to turn on each other, not if it means getting cut off from Daddy's fortune.
Well, I'm suspecting that this is where my specialties and my role is ending and yours is beginning.
Well, yeah, we'll do the full investigation, of course. Out here in the rural county, it's down to the sheriff to look into this kind of thing.
Believe me, if my word is of any significance, I will commend you to your officers about this. This is very important to me.
Obviously, it's a tragedy that a young woman's dead, but you got to wonder what kind of nonsense she was involved in. He says, clearly not that cut up about it, the entire thing. He makes some notes, says, so if the two of you got nothing else.
No, I just came here with the information just as soon as I could.
It certainly sounds like there's some weird stuff going on. We will get a sheriff up there, or deputy up there, as soon as possible tonight.
I'm glad that you will.
Not many crimes happen up here in the Hamptons, you understand. That's why we're not just crawling with the cops.
Well, I suppose this should sound like a good thing, right?
Yeah, well, I guess the alternative is lots of crimes happen, it's just no one reports them.
I'm sure that's not the case.
I hope not. He bids you good evening.
Okay, we take our exit.
Where are we going to go now, Doctor?
I have to get back to the mansion.
You can't take me there. You can't take me back.
That's fair enough. I can drop you to the train station if this is what you want.
She sighs. It's past midnight. There won't be any trains running. Drop me. No. Do you have any money? I'm so sorry to ask, but do you have any money?
What do you need the money for?
Because if I'm sat at that train station for the next 6 or 7 hours waiting for a train, that's 6 or 7 hours in which someone from the mansion could come out and find me, and that's the only place I'm going to be. At least if I have some money, I might be able to get a cab, or I might be able to hitchhike. I might be able to persuade someone to give me a ride into some town somewhere where I can blend in and get lost.
That's fair. That's fair. Listen, I have some money with me. Is this enough? And I'm just taking some money out of my pocket.
She just grabs it, and I'm sure it will help. Thank
Listen,
you.
Rose, what you did was very brave, and for whatever it's worth, I think you deserve a great husband, and that you should feel proud about what you did today. Have a very good evening.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm never going to forget your name, Dr. Vanderberg. I'm never going to forget you.
That's fine. That's fine, Rose.
So you drop her off at the station.
And I get in the car and I'm heading back to the mansion.
Okay. Back at the mansion for what might be our final scene in tonight's session. Our two intrepid investigators are in a corridor. They've recovered from the gas. What are they going to do? Keep on going?
At this point, I guess my character is starting to wonder, even if we get to them, what are we going to get from them? They're not going to tell us anything. I don't know. Perhaps we could try to expose them, but they're not going to confess what they're doing to us. So I guess we should focus on finding evidence and then using that evidence to expose what's going on here. But there's no reasoning with these kind of people. What do you think?
What do you think?
That's why I grabbed my backup camera. I figured if they're up to shady stuff, we're going to get some evidence, and we already have. So if you want to keep walking upwards, I'll be here with you, and I'll take pictures of anything else we find. Or we can leave now and try to take what we have right now to the sheriff. I'll leave it up to you, Captain.
Well, maybe not just the sheriff. Or maybe we'll leave copies with the sheriff because we don't know how local law enforcement is reliable, how reliable they are. So I'm tempted to leave it at this, but is this enough? Just some random pictures of a bloody table. I don't know if that's gonna do it. And I don't know what else we could find more evidence. The doctor has that book. But yes, I don't know. My strength is failing at this point. I want to move forward and gather more evidence, more incriminating stuff, but it's like we almost get killed here.
It's like we almost get killed here.
Well, do we want to wait until we can regroup with the doctor? You said he has a strange book.
Perhaps we should, yes, wait for the doctor, tell him what we've seen, and then decide if We remain waiting for the police and then see how the night develops.
Okay, let's head back towards the kitchen then.
Very good. The investigators, cowards that they are, but probably wise. You know, this is peak Cthulhu now. Where should we go further? No.
We almost get killed by a walking painting. Like,
yeah. If the gas won't get you, the painting will. You hesitantly go back down the stairs. This isn't some magical mansion. You're not going to find yourself walking around and around and find yourself on the 5th floor. You can retrace your steps. And you emerge in the kitchen. There's a couple of staff here. There's a chef, there's a kitchen worker. They're surprised to see you arrive. The chef says, "Get out of there. Go on, back with the rest of the guests."
yeah, well, I'm not a guest, but...
Oh, sorry, sir. I just realized you're the chief of security. Sorry. Yeah.
It's just part of the investigation. Did you hear what happened?
Yeah, well, everyone's heard by now.
Well, don't worry. We're just taking all the precautions. It's just part of the investigation. You don't need to understand it at this point.
No.
We'll be on our way. We're done here, though.
Well, best of luck, I suppose.
Thank you.
You emerge back into the main hallway, where the tone of the party has hushed considerably. Now that word has spread that someone is dead, there's no more idle conversation, no more chitter-chatter. People aren't just gaily drinking away and dancing. People are afraid to leave, but people are quite keen to do so before the law enforcement shows up. There's a lot of people at this party with something to hide, and they do not want the scrutiny of the police looking at them. You still can't see Elgin or the green trees, but you do see the doctor arrive and walk back in. The party is back together, and that's where we will close our session. So not as much of a cliffhanger. Well, that now the group is going to have to set a plan into action. What are they going to do with the remaining hour or so before the sheriff turns up? Are they going to do anything, or are they just going to make the hell out of there? All the players good for that? Did you all enjoy yourselves?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was great.
All right. Well, in that case, I'm going to click stop broadcast, and then we can all chat about it offline. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching, and we will be back for an episode 3, I have no doubt. Well, we'd better bloody do.